Bushnell, performance is the only thing. Savage Arms, better comes standard. Federal Premium Ammunition, surgical precision, terminal results.
Hey folks, welcome to this week's episode of Bushnell's Trigger Effect. I'm here in beautiful Newfoundland. We're going to be pursuing moose with Art Ryan's Mountaintop Outfitters. This episode is actually a part of a larger auction that's held every year by Vista Outdoors to help raise funds for various causes. I'm going to be joined by the auction winner and acting as his cameraman while he's pursuing moose. And from my understanding, he's never hunted moose before, so what a treat is in store for him. So anyways, let's quit talking and let's get out hunting. After getting settled into the hunter's cabin, we headed on over to the cook shack to grab a much needed lunch. It was at this time that I got to meet the auction winner, Jason Spradling. Jason works for Federal Premium Ammunition and is the shooting sports promotions manager. Once we finished our lunch, we headed out to make sure our rifles were shooting accurate after the long journey here. Well, folks, on this hunt, it's not just about moose hunting. As a matter of fact, it's something that Bushnell Trigger Effect has participated with Vista Outdoors on for the last few years. Is every year they pick a fundraising event to help certain things. And I'm being joined right now by Jason Spradling, and you work for Federal, right, Jason?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you go to this auction every. We never get to see it. We just we supply the hunts and some video and help to raise the money. But what happens at these auctions?
So at our national sales meeting for the past 3 years, we've done a charity auction to support certain causes, and we try to focus on either military charities or first responders. And you guys have been just so generous to help out donating some hunts for the auction, just raising some fantastic money to help these causes. So
now we're here
because
the one year you bought one of these hunts, and what was the cause that year?
So the cause that year was it was called Tiny Homes for Veterans. It was based out of Kansas City, Missouri, and so basically this organization had some property, and they were building tiny homes to house homeless vets as transitional housing. So it's not meant for them to stay there long term, but they're bringing them in off the street and then helping them with job placement services and whatever they need to help them get back on their feet and get rolling. And so the organization was telling us that one tiny home usually costs about $12,000 turnkey, and we were able to raise almost $175,000 that year to help that charity, and you guys were a big part of that.
Wow, that is absolutely awesome. And I mean, it's exciting for us because a lot of the time, especially with our sponsors, I mean, we deal with you guys, at certain times of the year. Most time we're out here, so to be able to have you join us and see what we do for a living was pretty awesome as well too.
No, it was fantastic.
And I don't want to take all the credit either just for Bushnell's Trigger Effect. I mean, we're a small part of it. As a matter of fact, Art from Mountaintop Outfitters was the one that also donated the hunt for us to be here.
Yep.
And I know we've had multiple other outfitters who have been generous enough to help these causes. So it's really a team effort, but it's just nice to see another way that hunters are not just contributing conservation and management, but humanitarian causes as well.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for coming and hunting with us. And let's head back to some more hunting here in Newfoundland.
Yeah, so we were up at 5 this morning, got us a really good breakfast to get our day started, a good cup of coffee. And we're down here at Victoria Lake, getting ready to head across the lake, some brand new territory. Hadn't been hunting in 15 years, really excited to see what's over there.
Heading across the lake, we were also joined by our cameraman Trent Headley and some of his family members and their guide.
So Colin, what's the game plan for this morning?
Game plan this morning, we're gonna take our time up through this trail, get up to the open country. Then we're gonna get high in glass for a little while, and then set up a call and see if we can call one out.
Awesome.
Well, after walking along the shore of Victoria Lake for about 1 kilometer, we cut up into the thicker riparian vegetation to make our way up through to more open country. After a few kilometers of hiking through the trees, we broke into the first opening. We saw a moose sign pretty much solid from the lake edge to where we were presently. After a quick game plan chat, we were off again to make our final push into the open country above.
So we're working our way through the woods here. We heard a moose. Oh, that vocalization. So we're going to keep picking our way through here, try to get some higher ground.
This segment is brought to you by Safari Club International Canada. First for hunters.
So we just came out of the woods into this open area, and back that way we saw 2 beautiful woodland caribou. One of the most rare species of caribou in Canada. It's the only place in the world you can hunt them right here. It's a fantastic sighting today.
We continued to glass after spotting the woodland caribou. It wasn't long before our guide Colin spotted some movement in the windswept brush. It was moose. Since it was the peak rut, we decided to get settled in for a bit and watch the cow and calf moose. You never know if she decided to bring her boyfriend along as well. The island portion of Newfoundland and Labrador is home to thousands of rare woodland caribou, and the only non-resident huntable woodland caribou herd in the world. Non-resident hunters for woodland caribou have experienced more than a 90% success rate, with mature bulls weighing anywhere between 350 to 500 pounds. As a biologist, this was also very special to me. I have seen every single species of caribou that exists in Canada, but the woodland caribou.
We just found a fresh rut pit, so we're gonna move ahead a bit further and do a bit of calling. See if we can't get him to come out.
We've been working our way this way after lunch. Found a lot of fresh sign. Really good new fresh, what'd you call it, rut pit?
Fresh rut hole.
Rut hole, and plenty of fresh tracks and stuff. We think there's a mature bull in the area. Maybe back this direction based on this direction of travel. So a little bit, do some calling, see if we can get him to come out.
Well, besides spotting some more woodland caribou, we didn't see or hear any responses from our moose calling. With that, we decided to move to another vantage point and try again.
Come to this natural funnel. Colin's down there calling right now. We're going to see if something steps out, see if we can seal this deal.
Yeah, I've been cameraing all morning for Jason, but boy, this is a beautiful spot, eh?
Yes, sir.
Incredible. We're kind of tucked in a valley between two little mountain ridges, and as Jason said, this strip of trees here is like a natural funnel, and boy, there's a lot of moose sign.
Yep. Yeah, it's really pretty.
So you're ready to put a bullwinkle down?
Oh, we're going to knock him down.
Knock him down.
Just seeing a nice bull. We're gonna put a stock on it, see how close we can get to him. Still there.
Taxidermy services provided by Hunters Union and Ray Weens Taxidermy. And thanks to these other fine sponsors.
So we saw a good bull off in the distance, got really good paddles, and we're about 500 yards out trying to trek through here, see if we can get a shot on him. We'll see what happens.
Well, we're taking a little bit of a break here from hunting moose in Newfoundland, and usually in Conservation Connection we're always talking about something that's related to conservation management, but we're going to take a little bit of a hiatus from that, and we're going to head to Lethbridge College and their culinary program to talk a little bit about preparing moose meat for the purpose of table fare.
So moose is probably one of the best sort of game meats that you can even ever get, and why they say that is because it doesn't usually taste that wild. Moose is very healthy, lean, high in protein and high in iron. Skeletal structure is very similar to beef, so therefore there are varying degrees of tenderness throughout the animal. If you know how to cut a beef, you can probably cut some moose. The most tender cut on moose would of course be the tenderloin. The loins, the rib, which hunters refer to as a backstrap, are of course also great.
Out of all the ungulate species, I have to admit moose meat is one of my favorite. Elk is right up there, but I still have to say there's nothing better than eating the backstrap out of a moose.
And between the backstrap and the hip, there's a portion called the sirloin. Now the sirloin is also pretty tender, and you could cut that into steaks as well. All these tender cuts are really good on the barbecue and for dry heat cookery. They just do not overcook them.
One of the biggest mistakes I've seen when it comes to moose meat is understanding that moose is very, very lean. Even though they're a big animal, most of the time you're hunting them during a rut, which means that you're dealing with pretty much protein and not much fat. So the biggest mistake you can do is overcooking your meat, which will dry it out and cause it to turn to almost like a leather texture. Most of the time when I hear people say that they don't like moose meat, it's not so much that they don't like moose meat, it's just the meat that they ate was prepared incorrectly.
The hind on a moose is made up of three main muscles. We refer to those as the outside round, inside round, and the sirloin tip. Those are fairly tender cuts as well, excellent for roasting. What you want to do with a roast that comes out of the hind is rub it with generously with some oil, your favorite seasonings, and pop it in the oven, really high temperature, maybe 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and then just allow it to brown up. After it's browned up, you probably want to cut down the temperature to about 225 Fahrenheit. Cook it to 130 Fahrenheit, which is about 55 Celsius. That would take it to about medium rare, or maybe 140 Fahrenheit, which is 60 degrees Celsius, which is medium. Makes for an excellent moose roast. Remember, when you're slicing your moose roast or any sort of roast, that you want to leave it sit out of the oven for maybe 10 to 15 minutes before you start slicing it. That helps to preserve the juices and they don't just all run out over your cutting board. Of course, if you shoot an old animal, it's going to be pretty tough, and maybe steaks are going to be hard to come by, and even roasts are going to be even harder. So in that case, there is grinding and other things you can do with it. You can turn it into meat sauce, sausages, and a whole bunch of different things.
So remember, next time you head out into the bush, go get yourself a moose, because I will guarantee you will not be disappointed. Now let's head back for some more great hunting action here in Newfoundland. Well, we did about a 1 mile push in 20 minutes and got settled in about 100 yards from where we had last seen the bull. Before moving any further, we were going to try some calls to either locate the bull, or if we're luckily within the bull's zone of influence, call him in.
This segment is brought to you by King's Camo. See the difference. Now, back to Bushnell's Trigger Effect.
So Jason and Colin are sitting about 20 yards in front of me. They hear a bull off in the distance coming down the mountain in front of them. I all of a sudden hear a bull grunt as well. However, it is not from in front of me, but to my immediate left and from behind. I slowly turn my head to look, and a bull is standing there staring at me, only 35 yards away. I don't want to draw the bull's attention any more than I have, so I give a small bull grunt to Jason and Colin to get their attention.
He's close. Stand up and shoot if you can.
So, just had a big bull. We thought he was gonna be this direction. He worked in from behind us. He came in just like a trick. That's how we do. Good job, baby. All right, so we were posted up on a ridge about 1,200 yards off and saw a really nice bull over here. And Colin said, let's go. So we geared up and trucked over here and set up, and Colin did some excellent calling. And the one that we were looking for never showed, but this big boy snuck in from behind us, and it was an amazing experience. As you can tell, it didn't work out too well for him. So, Colin, thank you very much. No problem.
We came up in and helped the boys here in camp clear a trail into some new country.
Yeah, some game retrieval chores need to be done, so
Yeah.
we'll give them a hand. That's a part of the job. So
It is, and I think that's important to mention that
Absolutely.
Hunting isn't just about going out and getting something, but pitching in, doing the hard work as well too.
I agree.
Well, folks, what an absolutely amazing trip. And you know, the one thing I really want to focus on this is there's two wins to this whole story together. First of all, it was awesome to see Jason from Federal come and harvest his very first moose, to be a part of that. And you know, the moose put on an incredible show. Everything you dream of in a moose hunt, this moose did. I mean, he came in grunting and strutting, and even when he shot him, he was still challenging to fight. And I know Jason, he's told that story around the campfire about 4 or 5 times already, so that's a win. But to me, the biggest win of this is the fact that we were able to once again contribute to an amazing cause. You know, all of the value of this hunt, plus many other ones that were auctioned off, you know, helped us to raise some funds for homeless veterans, to build them tiny homes, to help them transition back into mainstream society again. And that right there, I think, is the biggest win of this. So with that, I'm going to end this entire adventure, and join us next week for another exciting episode of Bushnell's Trigger Effect.
This has been a Thunder Boys production.